Hello and welcome to another episode of FinTech Focus TV. We're coming today from the FIX EMEA Trading Conference 2026 and delighted to be joined by Steve Toland from Transfig. Hi Steve.
Hi Ian, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Where's Toby? He's always here. He's everywhere.
I know. I'm deputising today, so please bear with. But Steve, let us customary give us an introduction. Who are you and what do Transfig do?
So what do Transfig do? We solve a couple of things for our customers. We mostly banks, some hedge funds operating in the global fixed income space. And what we're doing for those customers is helping them connect to all electronic trading markets and then helping them automate their trading processes. So we need to do that for lots of reasons, including efficiency, regulation, etc. But that's what we do. Yeah,
perfect. And traditionally, who are consumers for you?
In terms of our customers, it's large global banks.
Yep.
So we've got 20 odd bank customers now, but we're increasingly trying to get to smaller regional bank players as well. And as I said, some hedge funds.
Yeah, okay, very good, thank you. And look, we're here at the FIX Trading Conference today. There's plenty of subjects being spoken about and debated. What changes or what's affecting business for you at the moment?
Well, there's a couple of sort of mandatory changes that are coming in, which is affecting, obviously, everyone who's in the FIX community. So a new European transparency regime came in bond trading. It happened in December for the UK. It actually happened this weekend in Europe. So the trades are over a certain size. They're going to be published transparently on trading venues. So if you coded to a FIX API in Europe, you had to make changes last weekend, etc. And so we had to make those changes for our customers, etc. So there's ongoing regulatory changes. And then just in the fixed income market space, everything is getting more automated over time. So people want to trade quicker on trading venues, want to quote their customers faster, update their prices quicker. And so obviously that involves how many quote messages you can handle in real time, can you throttle out messages, you're overstepping venue limits, etc. And then latency round trip times on one side. And then the other thing that's really happening is more complex workflows. So the one I would highlight is portfolio trading. So it used to be that a buy side and a sell side would trade one bond. Now they don't. They want to trade 1,000 bonds at the same time, buys and sells. And the complexity of that all the trading venues are doing it slightly differently. Mm-hmm. Variations on a theme, but all slightly differently. And most of them are using FIX 5.0, and all the APIs are different. So that's where we come in. We translate those different FIX APIs to a common API standard and a common workflow. And that's where we help our customers.
Yeah, very good. And a couple of things you talked about there. That I'm always curious. That regulatory change you've spoken about. I mean, do you get a heads up and a kind of a decent level of warning of that, or how does that manifest?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
So this has been talked about for 5 years. I haven't been to a conference in the fixed income space when they're like, this is coming.
Yeah.
I do think it caught some people by surprise this weekend, and they go, oh, shit, it's this weekend.
Yeah.
So it's sort of gradually, then suddenly.
Yeah.
But obviously it's a mandatory change.
Yeah.
And then obviously what will affect the markets, and I think there's a panel update on this later today, is consolidated tape is coming in. So the UK will have a anonymous consolidated tape for fixed income. That will arrive in about June of this year. And more transparency will bring more people into the market, make it easier to trade on an algo basis, etc. Also causes problems for some people trading in large size. Mm-hmm. Do you want your trade to go to the tape straight away? So there is some deferrals, but people need to understand these regulatory changes coming in, and then the ongoing impact on their tech.
Yeah. As you say, naturally you'd think, well, more transparency, more trading, that's good. But as you say, there's always the other side of things, and then
it's not good. To trade a very large block.
Quite.
Don't want more transparency.
And something else you mentioned there, the sort of complexity of workflows, and that probably leads us nicely into something we were talking about off camera, is in and around AI and how that's impacting the world. Tell us your thoughts.
Well, I'm not a believer in the doomsday scenario that we're all, human capital goes to zero in 3 years.
We're all going to be jobless in.
I am an optimist. We think that AI, particularly when we're talking about it from the coding perspective, is really going to help developers be more efficient. In the same way that you and I use Microsoft Word, it helps us, it's a tool for writing better and spell checking, etc. But in terms of actually writing the code, you still need skilled software developers to review, what you're doing. Is it going to work correctly? Are your testing processes correct, etc.? So there's a lot of things that a software engineer does over and above actually typing in some code quickly. So we do think that AI is going to make our development processes quicker and more efficient, but we don't think it's going to put skilled software developers out of work. So good for your business as well. We're going to be hiring more software developers this year. We want to hire another 12 software developers this year, and we're planning to hire another 12 next year. So we need, I like to use this quote, we've seen that a fool with a tool, an AI tool, is still a fool. Okay, you need skilled software developers to basically use these AI tools. But it's a bit of a game changer. It's pretty interesting. We'll make things more efficient.
As an augmentation, I think, rather than because again, as we were saying, there's a difference between handing over the reins to an AI when it's a £2 application or something like that, but actually the confidence to hand over the reins when it's mission critical.
Obviously our customers are global banks. They're all regulated. We connect to regulated trading venues. Everyone needs industrial strength security, disaster recovery. Single outage is unacceptable. 99.95% uptimes. There is a lot that goes into building the product and the service, which slapping some. The danger is you produce some slop code, which is going to cause a problem. So it's very carefully we're going to introduce AI tools and make sure we monitor progress.
Yeah, very good. And then so sit and talk about that, and it's obviously a subject that's very hot here today, and everyone's talking about it in different ways. Just as a final to our viewers, where do people find you? How do they get in touch?
Well, if they're applying for a job, Paul Harrington stuff.
That's right.
On our website is the best way to get a hold of us. Obviously, there's a join page, which has all the current vacancies we've got. For people who are interested in sort of sales or actually blog posts about some of the regulatory stuff or the technology stuff we're building, it's all pretty much there on the website, so translate.com.
That's something you're very, very good at as well. Your engineering team, actually, those thought leadership pieces. So well worth checking out. Steve, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Ian.
Thanks for watching.